here. Didn't look at the clock, but I believe it's Thursday the 13th of January 2022. We have a glorious morning coming out. It's not really cool at all. It's like neutral temperature. Last night I had to go nuclear. I was seemed like towards the evening I was feeling better a little bit yesterday, and then last night, I started really plugging up bad, not feeling good. So I thought my nose is still a little bit runny, but not as bad as it was. I went ahead and I have a 100 milliliter cup, and over a period of about an hour and a half, I drank 2 of those before bedtime, and then after that cleared my stomach, I went ahead and made myself a hot wine toddy, and then I went ahead and I bundled up in a bunch of shirts and a bunch of covers, no fan on, had even a stocking hat on, nylon hat, and I went to bed, and I was sweating. I woke up this morning, didn't wake up a single time during the night, and just everything was soaked. All the shirts, the 2 t-shirts I had on, cotton t-shirts, were just completely soaked. It's funny, all that water I drank, I didn't have to pee at all this morning. I just sweated it all out. And I'll be honest, guys, I feel way better. My joints aren't hurting. The headache is completely gone. My nose still is a tiny bit runny, but hey, I don't think that's going to stop for a while. I do believe that's trying to throw stuff off out of your body. My wife was telling me last night, let me get you some stuff to dry that up. And I'm like, no. Why would I, the good Lord made it do that. Why would I take his stuff, away? It just seems odd to me. But this is something else I think about all the time, is these people, they're putting their faith in men. It's like with Jabba the Hutt. They're putting their faith in these men. You can't do that. And the bad thing is, if you go ahead and do that, you put your faith in these men. Look what happened with them. Men can be super evil. But you look at this now, they say, you get that 1 jab, everything's going back to normal. Now they moved that goalpost again. Now you got to get 2 and 3. The one neighbor down here said he's got his 2 already. So I don't know. There she is. But yeah, they're going to keep doing that, and they keep messing with people. Now they're gonna separate us by class. They had a hard time separating us by race. So in the cities they can, but most places they can't. So they figured it out. They're going to separate us by Jabba the Hutt status. So this is just the evil that men do, and we've got a system that the good Lord gave us to keep us healthy. Eat right. You don't eat the McDonald's food. I remember I stopped eating it a long time ago, but I do remember one time I was on a job, and they called me from the one job to race over to the other job, and it was a little bit of a ride. But I said, okay, well, I'll get over there. I'll get over there as fast as I can. And I left all my stuff at the first job. I didn't have my lunch or anything, and I was hungry. I would get pretty damn hungry some days. So I stopped and I got a couple double cheeseburgers, and I ate them. And I'll tell you what, by the time I got to that next job, I was so sick. I had poisoned myself with this food, and that's when I pretty much said, I had eaten it a couple times after that, but pretty much stayed away from it. I don't like the kids to get it. Now they're finding out that that you're a cannibal if you eat there. There's news on that all over. Plus, it's so unhealthy, and it makes me laugh that these people, they get their jab card and they're 500 pounds overweight, and then some real healthy guy, he can't get into a place just because he don't have a Jabba the Hutt. And he's fit. I had a meme on that before, and it's just like, we're living in a clown world, guys. These clowns are running the show, and I'm just not getting it. And some people are still buying it, and some folks are getting mad. they're getting pretty mad about the whole deal here, but people are going to capitulate. The one fella I talked to, he's ticked. He's really ticked that they're forcing him, but he said, I got to do it. He said, I'm going to go down and just do it. And it's like, it's going to keep on going as long as people do that. As long as they keep doing that, this is just going to keep going because they got you. They got you. They're gonna force you into this compliance, and as long as you comply, they got you. You belong to them. So don't sit back and say, oh, well, blah blah blah. They made me. No, nobody can make you do anything. Not a soul can do that. Nobody can force you to go eat at McDonald's. They can't do it. You just got to go. They can put up no other places to eat other than McDonald's, but they can't force you to go in there and eat it. It's like you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. But just don't do this. I can't believe that people are falling for this crap so much. I'm not buying it. But here, these folks here, I hear a lot of vloggers. I hear other people saying that they're really into compliance and blah blah blah. I don't know. You wait until you see these guys behind a wheel and all the laws they break daily when they drive bikes, cars, buses, jeepneys, and how rotten they can get. Come on, chicks, Shaky, let's go this way. And so I don't know if they're so much into compliance, because they sure as hell don't do it on the road. But here, this jab, I'm hearing a lot of them, they're going to go down and get it. That's really terrible. But the government lies about the numbers. I heard a number, they said, 78% of the people are jabbed, and then the prez came in and said, no, only 50%. They throw these numbers around like they're real. They just pop something out of the hat. And then you look at these big muckety-mucks up there, and they start spouting all this crap. Okay, it's cold and flu season, guys. And you go get any sort of a test. Doesn't matter if these tests are faulty or not. Even if they know they are, they're not going to throw them in the garbage. They're going to use them. So if they come up with 93% false positives, they're happy as a lark. I wouldn't agree. I would not even agree to one of those. If they came in and said, you got to have one of these, screw you. I ain't taking one. They can label me that without any kind of evidence if they want. But there ain't no way I'm taking one of those either. None of their crap. I wasn't buying this from the beginning. You can look at my vlogs all the way back. I thought it was all a big pile of bull crap. So that's just the way it is. But last night I was talking to my buddy Gerd. He's from Germany, and I really like that we got the phone. We can chit chat. Real nice fella. And one of the things that we were talking about was the computer. And I did notice when I've turned on other computers before, and they go through a boot menu. This one goes to the original page with the sign in, and as soon as you click that, all of the stuff pops up. And I thought that was kind of unusual. And most everything in there don't work in the computer. And he's a computer dude. That's his bag. That's what he did his whole career. Well, he told me, he says, because there's no drivers in there. The reason why there's no boot logging page or anything like that, there's no drivers. So, they sold me a real poor bill of goods. They do say they're going to take it back and give me my money back. Time will tell. I'll let you know on that. But why don't these people just sell a decent product? Sell a stupid decent product and be done with it. But no, they gotta scam you and sell crap. They knew this thing was crap, and that guy who got on it and started looking at it and running his little machine on it, he must have known, if he's a computer dude. He knew this thing was wrong, but he still made a fake thing that he was fixing it. So it's just all a big pile of crap. But we got our Christmas tree planted, and we finally got her in the ground. We had it in a pot for a long time. Cleared all this stuff up. My wife likes her little flowers. We got tomato plant, pepper there. She was playing in the garden yesterday, got her fingernails dirty, so that's cool. It's always good to dig into the earth. I used to love the garden when I was in the States. I had a huge garden there, and I was never one to follow the rules on how far you plant things together. I remember my corn, every other one was 2 stalks of corn, and then the next, or two seeds, and then the next one was 1 seed, and then 2, and then 1. And I would put them only this far apart. And they said, no, they won't grow. You can't do that. Blah, blah, blah. They won't grow right. Bull crap. I used to grind up fish. My son and I would go down the river and catch all these little river perch and catfish and stuff. And I would grind these things up into pulp, and then when I planted the stuff in my little furrows, I'd dump a tablespoon right on top of the seed, throw the dirt over it, and then I would have to put cut grass over it to keep the cats out so they can't smell it. And it would usually germinate within a day or so. And I was growing silver cream back then. That was our favorite corn. And I would get sometimes 3 ears on a stalk. Somebody said, oh, you can't get more than 2 ears on a stalk. Well, we were getting 3. One guy, he was telling me it was all bull crap, and I took a picture of it and said, you don't believe me, get over it. Don't start telling anybody it's bull crap until you go look for yourself, you a-hole. Well, some asshole from work, And I took a picture, and he said, that's fake, and all this stuff. I said, well, come over and look. And he was a corn grower. He said, can't be done. Well, he never come over and looked, the jerk. But we did. We had a lot of the plants had 3 big, long stalks. And I would get mine in real early. All my corn in real early, because the one thing about frost, when you got frost on your plants, everybody thinks it's the frost that kills it, the cold weather. Well, that's a big pile of crap. It's not the cold weather and the frost getting on the plant. It's when the sun comes out, and that frost is like little magnifying glasses, and it burns the leaves up. So what you got to do if you see frost, I had a shed, and I could look out my kitchen window in the morning, and if there was frost on the roof of that shed, I'd get over there and I'd wash everything down. I'd wash all the frost off. And I would start sometimes in the north. I lived in the Northwest. I would start my garden sometimes the end of March, And I actually had, they used to say knee-high by the 4th of July. This is no kidding. I got pictures of me standing there with my hand up above my head like this on the 4th of July, and that's how tall the corn was. And I did a lot of corn. And I also learned a trick about corn. And I tried to tell my one neighbor this, because he had a small patch of corn. We had a storm come through, and it knocked all the corn down. And he's over there trying to stand it up. And I said, no, don't do that. You'll kill it. Just leave it alone. It got knocked down. It'll stand itself back up. Leave it alone. Well, he stood it back up with ropes and stuff, and half of his corn died, and the plants and everything. But when they get knocked down like that, just forget it. Just leave them alone. They'll be fine. They'll stand right back up. I seen that in the cornfields, when I was in Indiana and all this stuff in the Corn Belt. Now, they would get these terrible storms that would knock the corn all over the place, and it'd be laying down on the ground, and then you'd see it just turning itself back up. No farmer got in there and messed with it. You just leave it alone. But I used to grow all kinds of stuff. I even grew peanuts at one time. I had a place down by the river that had a real sandy loam soil, and that place was perfect for potatoes and peanuts. And I just planted them right together. There's a lot of plants. It's like carrots and tomatoes. You plant all them together. You can really get a lot of food out of a small space in the garden. When I was very young, I found organic gardening book at a yard sale, and then I started looking for them all the time. And I read it. Anytime I did anything, I read everything I could on it, back in those days. And no computer like now, but I went ahead and read. And I got really into gardening, produced so much food out of my garden. People were just amazed. And I really loved it, because I had a lot of neighbors that I could bring them a big bag of food. Every time I'd go through the garden and pick the ripe stuff, we had more than we could eat. And we canned a lot. We canned a ton of food. And I would always bring my neighbors a grocery bag full of vegetables. And that's feels good to do that. I just love to do that. It was a free gift to us from the good Lord above, so why not give it away? But I don't have a garden here now. I'd like to find a plot of land somewhere, but ground is so damn expensive here. It's just ridiculously expensive. And people say, oh, why don't you go get yourself a ground? Or why don't you, that house don't have, why don't you get another one? Well, why don't you give me a big pile of money? Everybody starts yakking about how much they're going to, well, if you got the kind of money, go do it yourself. Me, we're on a budget. That's just how it works around here. But I would love to find a piece of ground that I could have a garden, even if I could find one. Before I had 2 acres of ground that nobody was using, and I actually went down to the city and said, what are they going to do with that ground? And they said they might make it into a parking lot later. And I said, well, could I make it into a garden now? And they said, well, here's the deal. You can make all the garden you want, but if somebody comes in and steals your vegetables, don't come hollering to us. And when they decide to pave it and all your vegetables get scraped up, we don't want to hear a word about it. And I was like, okay, fine. Well, what was really cool was I knew a bunch of the city guys, and they put up fences and stuff. So I had them put a fence up. And then what I put up on the gate was I put a big sign that said government testing site. And I had a nuclear sign on there and stuff. I've had really cool stuff on there. Stay away, and I had an old transformer, one of them old oil-filled transformers I had put in by the front. And I put that up with radioactive stickers on it. You know what? Nobody bothered that garden. Nobody ever went near that. You couldn't even see people walking up to it. That was just my way of keeping that garden clear. But I got so much vegetables and stuff out of there, and that was just that was almost 2 acres of garden. And I used to put a good bit in. I put a quarter of that in just in corn. I had cabbages, I had zucchinis, pumpkins, and I did learn a thing on pumpkins, and I learned this from an old timer. If you've got a pumpkin and you want one big one, well, what you do is you pick the blossoms off and only leave just one. And that plant will put every damn thing it's got into that one pumpkin. That's how you get big ones. I actually grew in one time. I know I hear these ones about 600-pound pumpkins, but I did have a 300-pound pumpkin. That was the biggest one I ever grew. And I'd never seen anyone bigger that I knew. I've seen on TV and all this stuff where they had a 600-pound somewhere in bumfuck, but I don't know. But in person, it was the biggest one I ever seen. And that used to be a lot of fun. I used to love to cut up the pumpkins and make crazy faces on them. And then that particular pumpkin, there was a girl that was an artist. And I said, do you, and she did eggs. She had a little tool where she would cut the eggshell away and make this beautiful stuff. I said, hey, can you do that kind of stuff on a pumpkin and make a crazy looking? Well, she turned this thing into like a Freddy Krueger pumpkin. It was really freaked out. I was just amazed, and I had a lot of pictures of that too, but I can't. If I could get I have an old computer that was destroyed, and I had a lot of pictures on there, but we did not throw excuse me, the hard drive out. We kept it. So I believe they're on there. I hope I can get them. And that would be really nice. But I'm going to go ahead and let you go. This was running kind of long. We got some stuff to do. I'm going to try to get my stuff out. It says right there if you need to do emergency things and stuff like that. Somebody was saying your yearly check-in is you have to make an appointment, but that's just for the Manila one. It's said on the thing you got to look it up on the site, the Bureau of Immigration here. It said that for the satellites, it's only the Manila one that you need the appointment that I could see. So, and when I went to fill out the form for the appointment, it was only for the Manila one. So we're gonna do a different one. We're gonna go the one here in Batangas, and if you have to go out for stuff, for food and stuff like that, so we're gonna make this a food trip while we're out. And it did not say anywhere on the site that you had to be jabbed. Anywhere. So we're going to go try to get her done today before they change the tune. And I would recommend anybody who doesn't have it done to get it done as fast as you can, because who knows, tomorrow They could declare level 55, and you have to be in 15 moon suits, and you have to social distance from your wife, and you have to put barricades up between the bed, and you have to have flamethrowers to kill the germs that are around your body. Hey, I don't put any of this crap past them. We're living in a science fiction movie right now, guys. This is where we're at right now. When I was a kid and watched some science fiction movies, I laughed and laughed and laughed. Well, pal, we're living in it. We are living in just this dystopia, weird universe right now. It's just the craziest thing, and they just keep doing the same crap over and over and over. This is 2 years of this bull crap. And are they going to stop? Well, of course not. They're already vested in this. They're vested in this bull crap, and they ain't going to stop. Why would they stop? Come on. Then that would say to everybody in the world that they were wrong in the first place, and they can't do that. They have to always be right, even if they are wrong. So you got to get that through your heads, how these types think. I was in a city government for a short while, and I'll tell you what, I don't know why it is, but the good people are all out working, and the loony bag nuts get into some of these little local governments, and they think they know better than you, and they're the mommy types, and they're going to tell you what to do, and especially around here with these LGUs, guys. You get in these dang LGUs. The president said, that we're going to leave it up to you guys. You watch. They'll clamp the crap out of you if it's a bad LGU. If it's some decent people in there, you got no problem. Everything's going to be fine. But here in this country, there's really no signs. You'll rarely see a street sign. You don't know where the borders are. So you might unknowingly cross into a different one, and there's a checkpoint, and now you're in trouble because there's nothing that says. How do you know to drive around it? I remember when I was young, there was a town where the cops had a speed trap, and they would harass any young person. They'd stop them and try to find anything wrong with their car and just ticket the crap out of them, right? Well, we knew what that was, and we would drive around it. We knew where the borders were, and we would drive around that town. Nobody would go through that town. Even the people who lived there didn't want to go through that town because the cops were all corrupt. They were a bunch of corrupt pricks, and that's just how that area was, but everybody knew it. Well, here, you don't know where the borders are. You could accidentally cross over into one of these places, and you got yourself caught. So be careful of that, guys. I wish they had a better maps of the areas that would tell you what the borders are for this stuff, but they're not gonna. They don't do any of that stuff here. And you look at a lot of these roads when you go on these on one of those driving sites that they'll show you what the street names are. Like P. Laurel. But if you stop and ask people, how do I get to Jano Street? They don't know they have no idea. They have no idea what that street is. You got to look on your little map and say, where the McDonald's is, or something like that. Most of the people don't know the names because the signs, a lot of places don't have signs, so you just don't know what you're going to get here. But I learned the name of the streets when we were living over in GMA and all that. When we'd go by a street, the little thing would say it on there. I had a little screen up, and that was really cool because I learned the streets. But I thought that was going to be important. Now it's a waste of time because nobody else knows what the streets are. Nobody living here knows what they are. So that's the way it goes. All right, guys. This is Rick Shaw, and I'm out.